Hey everybody, this is Drew Scooter. Just practicing pitches, I guess, for the podcast, right? As part of our campaign to keep the show going before I do like an ad read for the podcast, because that's what most listeners, it goes out to most listeners where these videos, very small, select group of people are watching these videos, just because most people that listen to podcasts, they listen to podcasts first. So I don't know, this one's like kind of along the lines of like super listener math or are you the one? Because what it really comes down to, and maybe sometimes you hear the desperation in my voice lately. And I know they can be off-putting in it, but I can't totally separate my emotions right from the ad reads as much as I try. Is like, so there are 20,000 of the free ad-supported, listener-supported podcast super listeners, right? And it really is like trying to get through how, I guess it's like that's the puzzle I've been trying to unlock the whole history of the podcast, but right now we have to unlock it. Because the ad apocalypse has come. And it just checked our forecast hour ago and it hasn't improved. So it's like, what do I have to get through to those people who will hear me? Because if you're watching this, well, I'll run through that, right? Because it's not meant to stress out people that aren't going to support the show or that already support the show, though I understand it does. So the question is like when I do the messages on the podcast, it's like, is it getting through? Is someone actually listening to me and hearing me? And do they realize that I actually am talking to them, right? And if you're watching this video, it kind of goes to the same thing. Most people tune me out, ignore me, especially on the podcast. And right, because I only need one out of like 19, essentially 19 super listeners are not going to support the show or tune me out, but I got to get through to just one out of 19 of those super listeners to support the show. And then the podcast will not only be here for the next year, the next 4 years, probably, but it'll be in good shape. I mean, we'll constantly have to remind people to support the show so we can bring in supporters for the people that cycle out every month. But we won't be in this state where it's like, man, how are we going to do this? So here's the kind of math I'm working on. Like, are you the one, right? The other idea is like, and if you're watching this, you could try it. If you've decided you're not going to support the show, you don't got to watch anymore. Like really, because I get these, like we already did the sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you page. If you filled that out, I'm not trying to change your mind. Like this message is not for people that have opted out of supporting the show. And if you're watching this and you're like, in your mind, you decided, well, I'm not going to support the show or all this stuff you're asking, I don't like it. And I'm not interested in supporting the show. Like you're in that, you're not even in that, you're in that, you're not like it's, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, right? That's not possible. Your mind is not going to be changed if you've decided you're not going to support the show, whether it's actively on sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, or in your head, you're like, no, I'm not going to support the show. The show doesn't need my support or whatever it is. If you've decided that, I'm not trying to change your mind. So don't watch anymore, right? It's not like I'm only trying to get through those people. I don't know who they are because I never hear from them, right? Well, I am hearing from them because I heard from one person that said, yeah, I was just ignoring you. But now I'm supporting the show because I am going to persist at this campaign till it fails or it succeeds, right? I'm not going to give up. All right. So the two things I've been balancing right now or thinking about is like, so if you're still watching this is for you, right? If you don't support the show. And again, supporting the show, it is just as important if you can't afford to support the show actively through the referral program if you can't afford to support the show on Sleep With Me Plus. But those are the two choices that we need help and that we're asking for help with right now. So if it stresses you out and you want to take action and say, well, I can't afford $7 a month. Like I say in every video and every request, I totally understand because I've been there living paycheck to paycheck. My daughter and I were talking about it last night when we had no car and what that was like. And that was when I was making the podcast. So I know what it's like. So don't worry about it. Support the show through the referral program actively, or choose not to support the show and just try to make peace with that, or then try to tune me out. Okay, so there's two concepts I'm thinking on here. One is like where we're at with the sponsors and stuff is like right now, it looks like for the rest of the year, the sponsorships of every ad on every show. So let's say you listen to the free version of the podcast and you listen to every ad on the show. That covers the cost of one episode a month. So I'm thinking like, hey, what would it be like if you went on a Sleep With Me break, right? And only listened to one episode, not one episode a night, not one episode a week, not one episode and all the, like only one episode. Like if there was only one episode in your podcast feed, could you do that? Or could you take a break from Sleep With Me totally for a week or a month or for the rest of the year? Like think about that. I guess if you're still listening to me, hearing me, it's pretty rare on the videos that people haven't decided. Most people that are following the show on social media, you decided one way or the other. Either you support the show or you've already decided, but maybe you haven't. And it's fine. Again, because the intensity of the emails I get from people, I'm not trying to change your mind if you're not going to support the show. I'm only trying to get through to the people. This isn't reverse psychology. Most people are in the middle. So okay, just to say that again, just because it really does hurt. Like, so could you take a break from Sleep With Me? I guess that's one of the pitches I'm looking at. And I've said it before, but looking at the numbers, it's like, hey, if we only put out, if the show was really only ad supported, we didn't have the listener support, or we decided, hey, we're only going to put out in the ad supported feed the shows that are ad supported, there would only be one episode, and that would be it. Like, which doesn't it wouldn't help anybody, right? Better off just not making the podcast. But we do have listener support, and we're trying to close that gap, right? Because most of the time we have enough ad support. Most of the time we have enough ad support and listener support to put out 2 episodes a week, or 2 new episodes a week, and then the extra. So that's one concept I've been thinking on. The other one is like, okay, this is the super listener math. Now anybody can partake in this, even if you support the show, or if you don't support the show, if you've decided you're not going to support the show. So this is like super listener math, right? So we're gonna go through these stages of how desperately we need your support, but how much, like, you might be the one I'm talking to, or maybe there's some other math we could play around this. So, okay, first question is, have you been listening to Sleep With Me longer than 6 months? That's not the first question, actually. The first question is, does Sleep With Me make your life better? Yes. Do you listen to it on a regular basis? That's kind of a loose term. Yes. Have you been listening longer than 6 months? Do you fall asleep within one episode? Like within 45 minutes to an hour of an episode? Yes. Okay. Do you listen to Sleep With Me 2 or 3 times a week? Okay. Have you been listening to Sleep With Me longer than a year? Okay. Do you fall asleep within like 30 to 45 minutes of an episode? Okay. Do you listen to Sleep With Me 4 nights a week? Okay. Do you fall asleep within 30 minutes of episode? Have you been listening longer than 2 years? Okay. Well, it should be, so this is weighted. Like now we're getting into like, if all those were like 1.2 points, these next ones are like 10 points. Have you been listening to Sleep With Me? Did I say 2 years? 2 years. Do you fall asleep? Well, do you listen to more than one episode a night? Have you been listening longer than 3 years? Do you listen to multiple episodes a night? Actually, in there somewhere should be, do you listen 5 nights a week? Do you listen 6 nights a week? Do you listen 7 nights? So once you get into more than 4 nights a week, more than one episode a night, and fall asleep fast, and if you listen to 8 episodes a night, like those are like the biggest ones. And it honestly, like, and I've been saying this in the ad reads, if we can't get people that fall asleep fast or people that listen to 5, 6, 7 episodes a night to support the show via one of those two ways, I don't know. Or people, like, again, I've talked about this in other videos and on the shows, like the starkest thing on the no thank you page is that most of the people filling out the form and saying, keep making the show, I'm not interested in supporting it, in general terms. The majority of those people, or no, not the majority, but I can't remember the percentage. Well, definitely the majority have been listening over a year, but more people have been listening longer than 3 years. That's the biggest statistic that stuck out, is that people have been listening longer than 3 years that filled out the form that said no thank you on supporting the show. There was other statistics that stuck out to me, and those, and also like the other stats were, yeah, I mean, they're super listeners, right? So a lot of those people listen all night long. A lot of those people fall asleep fast, and actually most of those people skip the ads anyway, which kind of doesn't matter because we're like the companies, and that's kind of part of our ad apocalypse, is like that companies is really, I mean, the show has never had anyone sponsor it so that no one can hear their ads, right? And we've always worked hard to kind of structure it in a way. So I don't know. Maybe part of this is like sometimes my self-pity gets in the way of all this too. But I think those are the two things, is like counting down that super listener stat, and thinking about taking a break from the show. Like, would you take a break from the show? Do you have an alternative? Because sometimes people throw that in my face and they say, yeah, like I'll just listen to some other sleep podcast. And it's like, that's fine. Like if me being honest about needing your support pushes you away, I don't know what else to do. Like, I want to keep making this podcast. So anyway, I don't know if we'll put this video up, but a lot of times I need to rehearse and then I forget to rehearse and then I try to record it and then it doesn't go well. So thanks for watching. And yeah. And thanks everybody. I got to click this button. Some other warning came up. So that's weird. It already was enabled. All right. Thanks everybody.